In this video, I'm going to walk you straight through how you can create a grand slam high-level SaaS offer. Props where props are due. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the concepts I'm going to be talking about today come from $100 billion offers by Alex Hormozi. Fantastic book. Definitely recommend that you read it, right? But in this discussion, we're going to kind of break down how we can apply his framework specifically for the niche of high-level SaaS. Okay, and so I do take a couple freedoms here, and I have it's not his exact process, but most of it is. And so with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and hop right in. So the first thing that we have to kind of understand is what exactly does our niche really want, right? And so I think it's really easy, if your niche is, let's say, home service, contractors or whatever, it's real easy just to say, oh, well, they want to have a successful home service business. And that's true, but I think that in order to truly understand all the dimensions of the situation, you have to also understand what was the desire that was being satisfied in order for them to even get into the home services niche in the first place. And so this kind of boils down to, I'm not sure whose concept this is. I think I read Dan Kennedy said this, and I also know that Russell Brunson said it as well. But he kind of breaks down there are three fundamental markets or desires that you could say. There are obviously it's health, wealth, and relationships. Now at some point I'll probably make a deeper video about my thoughts on that. I personally think that really the three true categories is, I think, longevity in terms of life. So more life, more power, and more love, right? So which is a little bit of a distinction from wealth, health, and relationships. And so by kind of converting, the category of wealth into power, it just more accurately accommodates the drives for status and other things like that. And I'm sure that at some point I will, break that whole framework down. But with that being said, the reason why your niche got into their business in the first place is for wealth. And so having that kind of is as a North Star, and just having that understanding that there are multiple layers of desires here, right? They wanted wealth, so they chose the vehicle of their homes, of the home services niche, right? So now they're in the home services niche, and so they need to find more vehicles that will allow that vehicle to make more money, right? So, and actually there's three things that I think that in general this kind of applies, right? If you're dealing with a niche that is primarily held within the kind of the wealth category. And so they're typically looking for three things. They want more money, right? They also tend to want less time involvement. So that could be anything from just less time wasted on menial tasks. But it could also just look like time freedom. They want to have the financial freedom that allows them to have time with their family, right? And they also want higher efficiency when it comes to conversion rates, right? They want to instead of just making $1.50 for every dollar they put in, they want to make $4 for every dollar they put in, right? And so usually I say it's okay, more money, that kind of correlates. Okay, they need more, or better sales processes and advertising processes, and same thing for higher conversion rates. And the less time involvement, that just usually is just either through delegation or automation, right? So we want to start a high-level SaaS, but I think the first thing we have to do is really define what a high-level SaaS actually is. It's like a blank canvas tool that you can use to build a business with sales and marketing systems. Now, obviously, you can actually utilize HighLevel in more ways than just sales and marketing. There's to some degree some lead generation things that you can do in there as well. And you could also utilize it for onboarding and fulfillment and customer success and stuff like that. For the sake of this conversation, I think that this is going to be, by narrowing the scope like the way that I'm about to, I think that it's going to actually help more people. Because I think that when people are launching SaaSes, usually they're not doing like a full spectrum, A to Z, like through all the marketing stages, like doing acquisition, conversion, onboarding, fulfillment, the whole thing, right? When you're selling it as a SaaS, from what I've seen, it tends to just be more of a focus with just acquisition and conversion systems so for that reason, like, I'm just going to say that like HighLevel's primary focus is in sales and marketing systems, and there are times where it can break down. Like if you try to use it for project management, right? It's not a project management tool. You know what I'm saying? So that's why maybe sometimes with onboarding, it's not that great for it, right? But I can't really judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. So I guess the next thing is like, so now that we know what HighLevel is, what it's capable of, the next question is, what things should be built on HighLevel that will satisfy those desires, right? We can kind of build anything. So what should we build? Well, if they need more money, they can do that either by generating more leads or by closing more deals. So for that reason, having lead generation processes built in to some degree is fantastic. And also sales processes as well, obviously. That's going, having, those things built into your SaaS will help facilitate the person making more money and getting higher levels of conversion rates. Or I'm sorry, actually, lead nurture processes will really help out with raising the actual conversion rates, right? By following up with people or doing database reactivations who, were in our, contact database, right? We can squeeze some more juice out of the leads that we generate, right? So the next thing is like, what hypothetically like could prevent someone from realizing their dream outcome through the use of a Go HighLevel SaaS that just has sales process, limited lead generation processes, and lead nurture processes. Now, let me just take one step back really fast. So for the reason why I say limited lead generation processes is simply just because like, yeah, you can generate leads with HighLevel, but that's going to be limited to like, hey, you're generating organic leads through, social posting, and, there's traffic that you direct towards like a landing page. And also there's some ability to do like cold calls and stuff like that through there as well. But I just don't think that HighLevel itself is like something that's like, it's not a traffic machine, right? We utilize the, paid ads platforms, right, to drive traffic to it. So that's why I say limited lead generation. Anyway, so with these three things, sales process, lead nurture process, and limited lead generation processes, like, how could someone, take all those who's in our niche, and how could they totally mess it up? Like what problems could they encounter that would prevent them from realizing the dream outcome using this, tool that we've built? So it's like, okay, well, we can literally give somebody, a whole super awesome system. But if they have no marketing chops, right? They have no knowledge of copywriting, no knowledge of constructing offers, no knowledge of using paid ads platforms, right? They're actually not going to be able to even get traffic into it in the first place, right? And so I think there's huge opportunity in actually filling those gaps in for people with like supplementary education and stuff like that. But they may also have no sales chops, right? They may be, they may have kind of gotten their business to a certain level, right? Just because they were like generally pretty well rounded, but they never actually had like real like dialed in training when it comes to sales. So, them not being trained on sales can definitely prevent this from working. And same thing if they have no scripts like to follow, right? Then I guess that it just plays back into itself, right? If they can't close the deals that are generated and are nurtured, in HighLevel, then they're not making the money, right? And so the degree to which they can't actually, make money with your platform is the degree to which your platform is not valuable to them, right? So the real question is like, how can we, we acknowledge that they, have deficiencies in these areas, or that a large portion of our niche has deficiencies in these areas, and it's up to us to kind of accommodate and then offer things that will actually help them in those areas. Now, by the way, another thing that you have to consider is like, well, if they have no understanding of how HighLevel works, then there's certainly no way that they're going to be, successful with it, right? So that's kind of the purpose of like having a really good onboarding system, is like you should be teaching them how HighLevel works for sure, and how the general system works. That is definitely something that needs to be included in your offer. And then also, if they have no understanding of how your snapshot works, then you give them this awesome system, but if they don't have knowledge of it, then like it's useless. You know what I'm saying? It's like just something that they have that actually isn't even providing them any value, right? And also, if they don't have an understanding of the snapshot, then they're most likely gonna like break it, right? Because they won't know like where the different inputs and outputs are for these different workflows and stuff like that. And if they have a better understanding of how the snapshot works and how HighLevel works, right, they're gonna be more successful. So it's okay. So now that we've listed like all the possible things, obviously there are more possible things that could like prevent them from realizing their dream outcome. Now, kind of the next step in the process for creating like an awesome offer is like, okay, how do we take all these problems and then reverse engineer them into solutions that can be bundled into our offer? So, right, if they have no marketing chops, and we're not running ads for them, because a lot of people who want to do GHL SaaS, right, they actually want to kind of escape the whole like agency component. You know what I'm saying? Because they maybe want to have like a less complex fulfillment. So it's not something that they're running for them. Although maybe a lot, I know a lot of people also have like some level of upsell to an agency offer, but that's all just to say that in the case that your Go HighLevel SaaS is just the SaaS alone and no like upsell done for you off like services or whatever, then the fact that they don't have marketing chops is definitely going to be a huge bottleneck in how much success that they can have with your platform, right? So I'm going to go ahead and kind of break down some thoughts I had. Like, so if they have no knowledge of copywriting, it's like, okay, well, we could create like a little mini course that goes over just like the super basics of copywriting. And we could also create like another mini course on like how to construct like offers in their particular niche, right? And how to cycle them. Like a lot of people will give people ad templates and stuff like that, but at some point they start to like get super that same messaging gets super saturated, and then like it's not really like performing the way that it used to. So them having that knowledge is super helpful. And then also no knowledge of using paid ads platforms. So you have a couple choices here. One choice is obviously creating a course that goes over, hey, this is how you use Facebook ads, this is how you use Google ads, YouTube ads, and TikTok ads, or whatever. But like another thing would be using something like UpX. I think it's Sam Carlton, I think, who has that, where basically it's like something you install directly into HighLevel, and it allows them to, pretty much launch ads like with just a few clicks. So that is something that does drastically simplify, right, and remove the need to have knowledge of the paid ads platforms in terms of navigating their user interface. But then there's also the question of like, well, if they don't know how to optimize ads, they don't know how to, split test and identify problems, what could possibly be the cause for, one ad ad set like performing worse than another, right? Well, then that's not really going to help them that much. So, you could also throw something in there like, hey, here's a little mini course, not only, how to create ads and all this type of stuff, but also how to optimize, right? If we can give them that knowledge, then this becomes a super powerful platform, right? Because now, getting traffic is no longer a bottleneck. And so then the next thing obviously is like, well, we got traffic and we're generating like leads. If they're not like closing on any of these leads that we're generating, then they're not making money, then they're not actually realizing that this is a vehicle that can facilitate their transformation from their current state to their dream outcome. So, perhaps their sales training, you know what I'm saying? And perhaps that could be a course. And let me take a step back too, because I think I forgot to mention this. There are a million ways that you can like solve the problems of them having no knowledge of copywriting or sales or, constructing offers and all this other stuff that I've already mentioned, right? A course is just a single way of doing it. Another thing you could do is like a continuous coaching program. You know what I'm saying? Or you could do like you could, I think what Alex Hormozic actually talks about in the book is like, write out every single like possible solution to the problem. Okay, so like, yeah, hypothetically, you could fly out and walk them through Facebook ads, right? To teach them how to like use that platform. And he basically has you like write out like every single possible solution to it, and then we want to take a look at all the possible solutions that we are looking at and that we've written out. We want to ask ourselves like, okay, so with all these in mind, which solutions that we're positing right now have a high value to the customer, while simultaneously having a low level of cost for us, right? And so the model to be able to kind of do that, like conceptually, is you want to have solutions that are one to many. And so that way, scale isn't really a problem, right? So if we do courses, we can infinitely reproduce, courses. Basically, you record a course one time, and then then you can just like grant access to, a membership area in HighLevel as many times as you want. There's no limit, basically. And so that is going to be really far different from that other example I gave where we fly out, right? That's one-to-one, like that's impossible to scale. It is high value, but it's also super high cost, right? So as a rule of thumb, when we're looking at all the solutions that we're positing for these problems, we want to kind of just erase like all the things that are one-to-one, unless it's like a high ticket, right? High ticket, low volumes. If it's high ticket and low volume and super like custom, at that point, obviously, it's going to be more one-to-one. However, right, if I think we're all in the business here of achieving scale, and with that being said, right, one-to-many solutions work pretty well for that, right? So, let's say we have all the possible solutions. Like, okay, we could do a course, we do coaching, we could do this, we could do that, right? We want to go ahead and like, say like, remove all the things, as I said before, that are high cost. So we'd probably be left with like a bunch of courses and coaching, right? For sales, it's like, okay, well, we could, also give them assets as well. So it'd be assets, courses, and coaching. When I say assets, I mean like, hey, you have the sales script that we can give you, or hey, we have basically, ad templates that are just plugged into UpHex, with the idea that you use those to start, and then after you take this course or these courses that we also provide, right now you actually are educated enough to create your own like templates and experiment around. And the next thing is like they have no understanding of how HighLevel works. And I think this is actually like a major thing. Like there has to be an education component when it comes to, selling SaaS. Like that's absolutely necessary, and it has to be facilitated. I'm actually kind of in favor of like the whole like challenge type of approach to this. where, you know, you do some kind of 30-day challenge or something like that, and you walk them through all these courses, including, you know, walking them through how HighLevel works and how the snapshot works as a part of the challenge. So we can get somebody to the point where we're pretty much addressing like all possible objections with the offer, which is kind of why you structure it this way, right? We're starting with, you know, we have this idea of this service that we'd like to offer, and then we think about all the ways that someone could not actually have success with it. We reverse engineer those problems, which would be used as objections, and we address them right into our offer, which will, you know, give a higher level of success, right? Now, if you are familiar with Alex Hormozi, he has like this value equation concept, and I really like it. I think it's fantastic. And there's basically, you know, two components, right? There's like a numerator. It's like a fraction. So like there's a numerator and there's a denominator. And the idea is that we want to like maximize the numerator while minimizing the denominator, right? So like obviously, as you know, the smaller the numerator and the larger the denominator, the smaller like the output of that equation is, or the value of that equation is. And then the smaller the denominator and the larger the numerator, right, the larger the value of that equation is. And so basically in the numerator, there's two components. There is like, there's basically the degree to which your offer actually does facilitate their actual dream outcome. The second part is the degree to which they believe that if they were to move forward with you, that they would in fact achieve their dream outcome. On the denominator, there's two components. There is like the time delay, and there's also what's it called? Yeah, it's like a sacrifice and effort. I think it is hard effort and sacrifice, right? So like if you're trying to maximize the value of the offer in terms of like how people perceive it, right? We want to be maximizing the degree to which people understand that this is a mechanism that can deliver the outcome. And we also want to maximize the degree to which someone can like feasibly see themselves, you know, actually achieving the outcome with your services. And then we want to minimize the time delay between them starting and then actually seeing the results that like between them starting and realizing their dream outcome. And then we also want to minimize the amount of hard work and effort if our intention is to go ahead and maximize the level of value. Now, like we do have to consider, obviously, you know, what exactly the intent of the person who is building the GHL SaaS, you know, what their intent with building it actually is. So like, you know, if you're looking to do like a super high ticket, you know, low volume SaaS, you know, and I think that there's some good reasons to approach it that way, especially if you really know what you're doing. Then you can pretty much, you know, go in there and do everything for them, right? Now, if you're doing everything for them, then their perceived likelihood of achievement is, you know, really high, and also the hard work and effort that they have to do is pretty low. However, at that point, it's like it stops being really a SaaS offer and more of like a consulting type thing, or it's far more involved. I know that a lot of people who are, you know, looking to do GHL SaaS, they're looking for something that's a little bit more lightly active. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, they understand we're going to be doing work with this thing, and when it comes to support and all this type of stuff, but, you know, it's going to be less of a pain operationally than, you know, having to, what's it called? Than having to be like run an agency or whatever, right? So they kind of want like something that's, most of the time, they want something that's like in between selling a straight product and having an agency, right? They want something that's like lower maintenance than having agency clients while simultaneously having monthly recurring revenue. So with that being said, right, you know, we want to focus on, and this is why I was talking to you a second about the whole one-to-many thing, right? Because the more one-to-many it is, obviously one-to-many solutions are pretty much usually always do-it-yourself or done-with-you types of solutions, right? And usually it's really more do-it-yourself. Although there can be some like coaching component to it that makes it done with you, you could say, or something. But that's why you'd want to kind of structure it in that way so that you could achieve scale. However, you would not be maximizing the possible value of it, because the most valuable thing possible would be you going in there and basically building their entire business for them in all components. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, right, we're considering their like secondary desire, which is like, or the secondary desires, right? Like I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, they want more money, less time involvement, and higher conversion rates, right? So that they have to spend less money to make more, right? So it's about fulfilling those dream outcomes, right? The degree to which we can do that in a one-to-many fashion, it's the degree to which we will have a successful offer. So yeah, so like, like I think a lot of it kind of boils down to like, doing courses and doing coaching and these different things and educating them and allowing them to kind of grow into becoming, an entrepreneur who really can do it by themselves, right? So we're not just, giving somebody a fish, we're teaching them how to fish, which I think is actually a pretty cool type of idea. Instead of just doing it for them, right? We're actually nurturing people. So now, like the offer itself, it's like it's more than just SaaS, but it's also, there's a serious education component. There's courses, and there's also coaching, and there's assets that we provide you that are ready to go. And so, yeah, I hope that was useful. It's just something I've been thinking about. I have like my own way of like I've just been doing some notes and stuff because I'm making some moves right now with Zach Gilliland and some sweet, little SaaS stuff. So I've had to spend a lot of time thinking about this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was valuable.